We are lucky to live in an area where lots of food is grown locally, but a good portion of that is not available to the residents.
Although we get a majority of local foods, some are being shipped across the country.
Jennifer Gross, head of Second Harvest Food Bank and Get Healthy San Mateo, talks about her viewpoints on food distribution and the different organizations that deal with food.
So Get Healthy San Mateo County is a community collaborative that strives to create healthy environments where people live, work, and play. And we're particularly interested in helping increase access to healthy food and access to physical activity.
Are you aware of the food distribution in the Bay Area? What are your viewpoints and opinions on them?
So a lot of the produce that is grown in the Bay Area, a lot of it does stay in the Bay Area, but a fair amount does go outside of the Bay Area. And that's because if you think about farmers, farmers are like any other profession. They have to earn a living. And, if you're running a business, you want to try to, sell your product to a place where you can get the most amount of money. And so in some cases, like, for example, with Brussels sprouts, that is a product where people can earn a lot more money if they sell it not just to the Bay Area, but potentially outside of the Bay Area too. Or sometimes for farmers, they may be growing certain products that there may be certain products that they can grow that do well in particular climates, and so they grow a lot of that product. And there's a huge demand and maybe really good contract or deal with a company that sells the product outside of California. So for me, a lot of the work that I do is we talk about sustainable food, and when we talk about sustainable food, you want to make sure that all people have access to healthy, affordable, culturally appropriate food. But you also want to make sure farmers can stay in business. So that's also a really important part of sustainable food. And you also want to make sure that the land and the water that's being farmed or the fish that's being harvested from our seas or our waterways can continue to be farmed or fished. For example, I work with some farmers. We work with juicy farms, and I work with Yankee Flowers, another company. I work with, we work with other stores like the Leaf Market. We work with hospitals, some of which are nonprofits. I think some of them are considered for-profits or businesses. So there are a lot of different nonprofits, for-profits, cities, schools that we work with. There's a large variety of groups that we work closely with.
San Mateo County's total food production, both agricultural and local seafood, is worth about $144 million. Yet the majority of that food is not available to the residents.
The food is processed and sold outside of county lines, preventing the locals from getting fresh and healthy foods.
How many people do you get usually?
Usually, in this location, we're taking about 100 people.
Okay.
No, we're doing 80. But when we get to 100, that'll be our limit.
That's the limit, 100. In this session, because they have other places where they distribute food too, and there's more people. Sometimes there's 200 or more. But in this place, they only go to 100.
And how much food do you get?
Every time is different. Sometimes we get more than today. Sometimes we have less. It's whatever they donate. I guess that's how much they send.
Thank you. There are organizations like the San Mateo County Food Alliance, Get Healthy San Mateo, and the Second Harvest Food Bank that deals with these types of food distributions across the peninsula. They work to help our local farmers as well as aiding the fellow citizens simultaneously and make sure that both sides are not cheated. Food distribution can come from several different sources that include farmers, people, and businesses.
It's good.
Hi, and what's your name?
My name's Susan Takalo.
And what's the name of your organization?
This is Second Harvest Food Bank of Santa Clara and San Mateo counties.
You get donations from food companies and farms, right?
Correct.
Can you list some of their names, please?
Sure. We get food from the retail level, such as Safeway or Lucky's or Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. And then we get food from actually the farmers who grow the potatoes or grow the broccoli or grow the spinach. We get a lot of donations through something that's called Ag Against Hunger. And it's an organization in the Salinas Valley that the growers didn't also want people to be hungry, and there's sometimes food that they can't sell for whatever reason. It may be that they're shipping it back east, and by the time it gets back east, it's not going to still be good, and so they can't sell it, so they donate it to us. We work with Gilroy Foods. We work with a whole variety of different kinds of organizations.
Cool. The farms you get your food from, are they like organic farms or like corporational farms?
I'm going to be honest, most of ours are corporational farms, and they're not very much local, because the farms here in San Mateo County tend to be a little bit smaller, or they're farms that are shipping a lot of, like the Brussels sprout growers are shipping overseas. And so that's part of it. And then the second reason is that we get our food in semi-loads, and so it needs to be a fairly large farm to be able to give us 40 bins or 40,000 pounds of a particular product.
Like, do you have a preference over which one? Or are they both like fine with you?
For us, there's a lot of hungry people, and so whatever sources where we can get food is a value to us.
Like, do you have an opinion on like local food distribution? Because like you said, most of the food you get comes from like out of state, like
Or out of the county.
Out of the county.
Yeah, right.
Do you like that or like?
Personally, I would like it if we got more local. We get a lot in Santa Clara County, so we get a lot of food from Gilroy. And then Salinas is not too terribly far away. But we work with the California Association of Food Banks, so all of our food banks work together. And then we have people from the association who contact all of the different growers across the state, and then we coordinate. And so then we would pick up food, say, in Southern California, and then they would drop it at all the food banks all along the way, so that we're all sharing the cabbage or the carrots or the onions. And most of our food, I'm going to say 80%, is from the state of California.
Do you try to advertise, like encourage other people to volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how so?
So we do a lot of different things. So this time of the year, you might see things about the food bank you might hear it on the radio, or you might see it on television, talking about our need and the food drive and the holiday time, and you need turkeys and those kinds of things, because media are coming to us at this time of the year because they want to make sure that everyone has food for the holidays. And so whenever someone sees, oh, donate a turkey, they can think, I need a turkey. And so then that helps to find people who need food. And we also have billboards. There's one on 101 that you might see that says, give what matters. $1 equals two meals. So we do that. We do some radio kinds of things. We have flyers and those kind of things that we provide to other nonprofit agencies. We go to community meetings to talk about what our services and what we do, and make sure that everybody who comes across someone who needs food can find out that we have food available. And we also have an 800 number, and anyone can call and put in their zip code, tell us their zip code, and then we'll tell them the closest pantry to where they are.
So were these companies like easy, difficult, or moderate to handle? Like, were they just pretty giving, or like did they like miss out on like when they said they were going to give but they end up don't?
It's really a combination. I feel that people are really generous, and they need to know what the need is, and then they can give. And so sometimes breaking into the corporate structure to be able to, how do you reach people, how do you connect with them? But I feel like when people get connected, we think that our community needs to be a place where people have enough food. And so people are pretty generous in that way.
the food you receive, are they you said that like some of them are like food that farmers aren't able to sell. Like, do you consider them to be like like good quality?
So they can't sell it for a lot of different reasons. So for example, kiwi, they made a rule in the state of California that they would not sell twins, which are two together. You never see that in the store, but in the field that grows about 20% of the time.
Oh wow.
And so 20% they can't sell because it doesn't meet the market standards. But that's great because it actually has less skin, right? Because there's two together. So they would donate those to us. The cabbage may have grown too small or too big. So if it's too big, they have to be able to fit 24 heads in a box. And it's too big, they can only fit 23. So then they would donate that to us because they're too big. It could be that they're very ripe and delicious right now, but if they're going to ship it to the store and arrive to the store on Sunday and not sell on Monday, then it might not last. The shelf life is not long enough. So it's those kinds of reason that they're non-marketable. Rarely do we get something non-marketable because it's rotten or it has too many blemishes and those kind of things. We don't get those. So I think we should take a walk out to the warehouse and we can show you some of the food that we have.
Okay. Oh, do you get more like fruits and vegetable donations than like meat and frozen goods?
Yes. Over 50% of all the food we distribute is fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's good.
Which we think being healthy is really important, and eating fresh fruits and vegetables is really all part of that. So they've taken it and it comes in all jumbled together in a barrel, and so they're dividing it. This is ready to drink.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that interesting? And this is bulk items. So this would go to a soup kitchen or a shelter that's maybe going to cook for 50 people or 100 people versus a family of 4 or 5 or 3. And so they divide that out so it can go to the right place. And that's all the different kinds of cereal they put in a bin like that. Miscellaneous soft stuff. That's miscellaneous hard stuff. But then that's things that aren't the other categories. So we have categories of protein, vegetable, fruit, non-food, pasta and rice. Oh, yeah, up there. Fruit. Pull-top cans so that we can give it to homeless folks, and then they can open them easily. And there's dry pasta and beans. And so if it's not any of those things, then it goes into one of these miscellaneous bins. And so if your student group or something wanted to come and do a sort, this is what they would do if they came here. They would be getting the stuff and organizing it and throwing away things that are too dented or open or those kind of things.
Okay.
Okay. This is produce that people from the community donated that today.
Oh.
They just brought it in. When they brought in their canned goods, they say, oh, and people want apples for Thanksgiving and potatoes for Thanksgiving, and they brought them in.
That's nice.
And this area is our shopping area. So miscellaneous things that come in and bread and those kinds of things are put in here, and then soup kitchens, shelters, pantry, children's programs, drug and alcohol recovery homes can come in here and just get one of these carts and say, oh, I want a case of that, or I want some top ramen or whatever's in the shopping area.
Like the head of the organizations, or like the actual people come and take?
The actual organizations come in. So we're sort of like a wholesaler. Our job is to get as much food as we can and then give it out through the whole network of different other nonprofit agencies.
Okay.
And we have some direct service programs where we just deliver to seniors, we deliver to families with children. We have a backpack program for kids.
The food is processed and sold outside of county lines, preventing the locals from getting fresh and healthy foods.
Today, there are organizations like Second Harvest Food Bank and Get Healthy San Mateo that not only help those who need food, but also help raise awareness for food distributions.
Thankfully, most of our food stays with us, but at the very least, we are aware of the food distribution San Mateo County in Northern California goes through.